Shall I kick off? Peter will be on the way soon.
Hello there, everyone. Just about to kick off. You'll notice there's no mics today, but I'm hoping that you guys are back in gear. Okay, is that good? And then Bruce comes up here. If he's not shouting loud enough, if you just do this and shout, "Speak up," like a bit like the grandma who's upstairs. So we've got Bruce up here today. I'll just give him an intro in a moment. Before I do that, I'll just go through the safety briefing. There's no fire drills planned for the event, so if it goes off, it's a real thing. There's entrances at the back, and there's two down the side. I'll bring back the rooms. So it's a normal two-stage system. The beep and but when the beep goes, we'll just basically brief. And we'll muster outside, just outside the Great Hall, before it goes from the arches. I said no drills, so if it goes off, follow my heels if you're fast enough. So we're going to have Bruce give a presentation for about 30 minutes or so. He'll tell you a little bit more how he wants to run it. And then after that, we'll have time for Q&As. And if you're all good, you ask nice questions, drink this at the end. And if we don't like the questions, we'll have the drinks at the end. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Bruce Wilson. Bruce is currently Principal Advisor for both radioactive waste and resource policy issues in the Department of Industry. For the past 4 years, he's held the position of, I'm going to read these out, Head of Division Resources in the department. He's been responsible, it's all his fault. He's been responsible for oversight and development of regulation of Australia's offshore petroleum and onshore minerals industry, and also for policy advice. He's also been responsible in the past for the delivery of a wide set of issues, including East Coast gas regulation, which we know is working wonderfully. He's also done the Timor-Leste Joint Petroleum Resource Development and the Resources 2030 Task Force and National Policy Statement. In 2013, he was Executive Director of BRE, the Bureau of Resources and Energy Economics, and previously ran a bunch of secretariats in that space. Before that, even, he was in the Prime Minister's Task Force on Emissions Trading, so it's quite a nice broad breadth of experience here. And he was also advisor and negotiator on the United Nations Framework Convention for Climate Change. He's also worked in the Department of the Premier and Cabinet on industry and innovation issues. And tonight he's going to talk to us about the National Energy Resources Policy Statement. So without further ado, I'll welcome Bruce Wilson. Bruce.
Thanks, Al, and thanks to you for making the time available this time of day. It's the last one out at 6 o'clock. Certainly in Canberra, the lights are going out. We're all heading home at this point. Look, I tend to be a bit of a conversationalist, so as we're going through the slides, there are a lot of slides, but some of them I'll flip through fairly quickly. If there's anything pressing that you really want to grab me on as we go through, please stick your hand up and we'll do a question then. Otherwise, happy to take a more general discussion at the end. So, hey Peter. But the National Resource Statement, it was anchored around a simple proposition which I put to the Minister about a year and a half ago. It's anchored around, wanting to have the most advanced, innovative, successful resource sector, which delivers sustained prosperity and social development for all Australians. Everyone loves a vision statement. That's our vision statement. I think it's one that we currently do actually live to. But what we wanted to do in the resources statement is to focus ahead to, say, 2030, 2035, to make sure that is where we are. I'll talk tonight a little bit about how we got to the resources statement, then I'll go through the statement itself. Okay. Maybe I'm doing something wrong here. So what's the context? Why do we care? Well, the resources industry is Australia's most successful industry in the last 10 years. Arguably, it's been one of our most successful industries since colonisation. It's certainly, in terms of its contribution to Australia, the most important sector. Now, I'm a little bit biased. I used to run the resources division in Canberra. But in terms of its contribution, it's massive. It's around about 8.5% of GDP. It has, in recent times, pulled in more investment into Australia than the rest of our other industry sectors put together. It employs directly around about 220 to 230,000 Australians. If you add the mining, engineering, technology and services sector on top, you're looking at a contribution of somewhere in the order of 10% of our economy, around about 1 million people, directly and indirectly. It's not just the numbers, it's where those people are. But those people, a lot of that employment is occurring in regional and rural Australia. Now, I don't know how many of you are from rural and regional Australia, but this is a significant industry in many towns and many areas. It's actually part of the social fabric. It provides services to regional Australia. Mines require infrastructure. They put money back into the local economy. They're usually the bedrock that develops towns and areas. Now, mines come and go, and of course, cities live on, but these mines are fundamental to many communities in Australia and their social fabric. I go on about that a lot, but it is really, really important, particularly in Canberra. It's also the leading employer of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. It's the biggest employer of any industry sector of First Australians, and that's really important. So lots of statistics there. It's an incredible wealth generator. Last year this year, resource exports were worth somewhere in the order of $250 billion. Number goes up and down a bit depending on factors. There's $250 billion worth of exports. It probably put somewhere in the order of over $40 billion back into the Australian economy through taxes, royalties, and other payments. And that doesn't include the indirect payments in the communities through support for schools and roads. So this is a highly significant industry. Now, it's going really well. It has in the last few years gone through a bit of a downturn with, it is a cyclical industry. Commodity prices tend to go up and down following the supply cycle. And we had a massive expansion of this industry as China grew from 2007 onwards. As I said, at its height, around 2013-14, it was pulling in more investment into Australia than every other industry sector, the rest of the economy combined. It was a massive boom and a massive expansion. Then, of course, as is usual in the minerals industry, there was an oversupply followed by a price downturn. That's now working its way through. Global demand for resources has actually been very steady in its growth and will continue to be steady. That oversupply is now being eaten away in many commodities, and you've seen a recovery in prices. So the industry is going really well. So why have a resources statement? Next. we can't take that success for granted. That success is wonderful. You can have a lot of resources, doesn't mean you're going to be successful. You've got to have the resources, you've got to have the people, you've got to have the knowledge, you've got to have the technology, you've got to have the cost base. And we were really lucky, and we've got to have sound regulatory frameworks to make investment predictable, that make the industry sustainable and safe, and it builds community acceptance. We had all that, so we were able to really capture a massive share of that China growth, because we were a country that could come and invest in and develop projects quickly. That can be eroded, and it can be eroded through complacency very easily. The industry is actually under a lot of pressure from a whole range of factors. We aren't low cost anymore. Australia is a high cost environment relatively to build and operate projects. We have constraints and supply constraints on skilled labour, and that's a very big factor, and I know it's a factor for universities. Our supply of mining engineers and skilled workers to the industry is going to be under challenge in a couple of years' time. Enrolments have dropped. This is going to be a critical factor for the industry, which could limit its development. Regulatory settings, it's getting harder to do projects in Australia for a whole range of reasons. And I'm happy to talk about any of those that people want. But it is getting harder to do projects. Community standards are rising, what community expects from a mining project coming into the community and operating is growing and increasing. The standards are getting higher. State governments are requiring more, federal government is requiring more from projects. It's not as easy as it used to be to do a project. It used to be to get a mine up and running within 5 years. I doubt that's the case anymore. I think it'd be much more like 5 to 10 years. So, you know, in talking to the Minister and when he talked to his colleagues around this issue, we were all mindful of the experience of Kodak. You know, Kodak were the biggest photography company in the world. They had the market, they had the brand, they took their eye off the ball. 5 years later, they didn't exist anymore. Now, Australia won't be one. Australian resources industry isn't going to follow that path particularly. But if we don't work hard to maintain our competitive advantage, we'll stop being the best country in the world to do mining, and we will fall back. There's plenty of new competitors, particularly in South America and increasingly Africa, who will be happy to take our investment share. So the opportunity. Will we get another China wave? Probably not, in our view. There is a lot of potential though for new growth, and this chart here shows some of the, I think it's top range of commodities. The list of commodities Australia has, of course, is much longer than this, but this is just our big ones. Over the next, I'm trying to think, to 2030, there's significant growth in all commodities, even thermal coal. And I know that's a controversial point for some people, but all those markets are growing, and they're growing pretty steadily. Will we get another China boom where China just explodes, or we get the next big economy to explode? Possibly not. India is a possibility. It's got its own challenges. If India was to grow at the rate that China grew, then these numbers would be even more dramatic. But you know, on the balance of probability, that's what most forecasters would expect. That presents huge opportunity for Australia. We can supply all those commodities and more if we can capture that investment. So that's my boss. This is he basically wanted us to undertake this exercise to look at what do we have to do to maintain ourselves at the forefront by 2030 and beyond. He didn't particularly like 2030, he thought that was a bit too short term. I tend to be more focused on the next 10 years, because I think that's more deliverable than 2050. But basically, you know, his view is we need to keep our eye on the game, we need to continually improve, we need to keep moving better. He's also got a very, very clear focus on communities. If he was here, he would say this game of resource development, Why are we doing it? What's it for? It's not to create new statistics. It's not to ship out record tons of anything. His view is we're doing it for people. We're doing it for Australians. We're also doing it for people in other countries by raising their living standards by supplying these commodities. But in particular, his view is it's really about the people. It's about the communities that mining can give opportunity to. It's about the people that mining can give an opportunity to. It's about the wealth it can generate that can then go into other activities like schools, roads, hospitals. That's his view, and he's very clear about that. And as an apolitical public servant, I actually think that's a highly commendable perspective to have. So, how did we go about it? Well, normally we didn't want to go through a traditional green paper, white paper, throw all the policy settings in the air, take 2 years and get to the same point anyway process. Largely because the policy settings obviously are not too bad, or we wouldn't be in the good position we're in. If we had bad policies, if we had bad business environments, we wouldn't be having the investment.
Sorry, I do have a question.
Yep.
What was the mandate for the federal legislative, the federal involvement with state by state?
Sure. No, and that's a really good question. I can tell you some of my colleagues in what we call our central agencies ask me exactly the same thing. Why would we get involved?
Yeah.
From a federal government point of view, our interests in mining stem from a couple of direct responsibility for offshore oil and gas, and we have some regulatory responsibilities around uranium. But that's what was the trigger? Self-interest. We get a lot of money out of mining. A healthy mining industry generates not just royalties. Royalties largely go to state governments, but we get income tax. So a healthy mining industry generates revenue for the Commonwealth. A healthy mining industry is also promoting growth in rural and regional Australia. Now, Matt Kennedy, of course, is a National Party politician, so that's very important to him. And he's also Minister for Northern Australia. So there's a lot of synergies there. We went into this exercise not trying to turn it into a constitutional battle with the states that somehow we were trying to take over resource regulation and responsibilities. That's what we're not. I've been in the game far too long to know that only ends up in a giant crack fight where we end up getting nothing done. What we wanted to do is to approach this from a federal point of view to say, well, what would it take, taking as Australia, what should we do? And then taking that agenda into and I'll talk about this in the COAG Energy Council, and reinvigorating that, because that sort of mineral agenda, or resources agenda in there had pretty much fallen by the wayside. So it was really around constructing a framework that we could then work with the states and territories, and then, as you'll see, also industry and academia on coming up with solutions. We wanted to focus on, also, I should flip this up now. We didn't want to get into the weeds of regulatory reform on issue X or Y or Z. We really wanted to look at what are some of the big, almost existential challenges that could really stuff the industry up if it doesn't. If we collectively don't do it properly in the next 10 years. It's that old saying, focus on the big stuff, don't stop the small stuff. So the Minister, we recognise that Canberra bureaucrats don't know a lot about the world out there, particularly in the resources space. So he wanted a task force put together, a short, time-limited task force that ran for less than 12 months, comprising some experts, people who had something to contribute. They weren't there as representational people. They had knowledge and expertise, and I'll get to them in a minute. They produced a task force report, and from that report, that was one input into the Minister's considerations. He then took a resources statement into government and produced a policy statement. We've subsequently taken that policy statement into COAG, and it's been largely endorsed, in fact, heartily endorsed by the state territories. I think we're all surprised. We had the resources ministers met on the Thursday, and that went incredibly well and very positive, and then the energy ministers met on the Friday, and I'm glad I wasn't there for that. So the Resources 2030 Task Force, I'll talk a bit about that quickly. We move to the next slide. The Minister put down some terms of reference, more as a guide rather than a constraint. He wanted to look at 5 particular themes: investment, innovation, communities, environment, and exploration and business development. And that's the 5 points that the task force collectively agreed would be the focus of their work. I won't repeat the goals under those, but I think they all make perfectly good sense. I mean, a lot of this can be criticised as being a bit motherhood, but it is actually quite important, I think. I should say there hasn't been a resources statement by the Commonwealth Government. I think we went back to the entrails 20 years ago. To point out Tom here, who was one of the team that worked on the statement as part of the Secretariat. There hadn't been a statement for 20 years. There's been a lot of talk, a lot of debate at the federal level, and there still is, and there will be forever, around the structure of the Australian economy, the new economy, the old economy. I thought it was, and the Minister agreed, it was really important that there was a statement that really outlined the government's vision, view and commitment to the resources sector. Because it was starting to get a bit caught up in the old economy still. And really, this sector is at the cutting edge of the new economy. It isn't old economy at all. It is one of the most innovative, if not the most innovative industry sector in Australia. That's the task force. We had a wide mix of people. Andrew Cripps, former Minister for Mines and Energy, chaired it. We had Chris Pygram, former head of Geoscience Australia, Stephen Smith, former Foreign Minister of the Rudd-Gillard governments, Marcia Langton, Erica Smythe's been around for a long time in the industry, both in the industry and in academia and on boards. It was a very good team to work with. We had Joyce McCulloch and Mira Van Isaac, and Adrian Rourke, who was there, who has a strong interest in the net sector. So we had 10 members on the task force. We had 6 round tables. We got in quite a lot of expertise in the round tables. The round tables were structured as thematic discussions, where they got in people, experts to come in and talk. We had submissions, and of course we engaged with states and territories. Now, we didn't make it an all-singing, all-dancing, full public policy white paper process, simply because that would have taken 2 years. I don't know if the product would be any better or different. The Minister's view was, let's get it short and sharp and get a report. And that's what we did. So it came up with 29 recommendations, 6 themes, that largely matched the term of reference. It's available on the website, industry.gov.au, if you want to read it. I do commend it. I think it's an excellent report. It touches on and highlights most of the issues. They very deliberately shied away from the detail of solutions to those issues. They were very conscious that they were 10 people in a short time in the process, and coming up with simple solutions to complex problems, while it looks attractive, really probably doesn't do the issues the justice that it deserves. They wanted to focus on what needed to be looked at and what outcomes should be achieved rather than the best way to get there. So that led, of course, to the resources statement that the Minister released in February. Yeah, we had a lot of goals to try to get that. So I've sort of forgotten when it actually did come in. It takes up the Resources 2030 Task Force. It's not a formal response to the task force, but it takes on board a lot of the material. As I said, that's the vision that it's anchored on, and this is the 5 policy priorities that the government have put their policy framework around. And it's really around being the most attractive investment location, making sure that we develop new resources, industries and markets, and working harder in that space, investing in the new technologies. There's a lot of business development that we can get if we develop these new technologies and processes. I'll talk a bit more about each of these as we go through. One that was very important to the Minister is the creating well-paid, secure jobs and making sure that we have a skilled workforce for industry communities to grow with, and supporting the communities. If there's one area that probably kills more resource projects, that's probably the killer of resource projects, is community support and the difficulties. If you have a resource project and you go into a community and you don't attract community support, and there is a lot of angst and controversy, that just creates an environment where then state governments, who are often the licenses for these projects, start to get worried about development. That political backlash, that is often what creates environments in which projects become uncertain and unclear, and that then chases away the investors. So having community support for anything is just so essential. They call it social licence. I'm not allowed to use that term in this hate, but I think it's a pretty good term. Having that permission from the community to be there and working with them is just so fundamental. So, okay, we'll skip over that one. It's getting a little repetitive. Delivering the most globally attractive competitive investment destination. We heard from a number of companies that Australia has a great reputation as a place to invest. We have an investment arm in the Australian government, Austrade. All state governments also have investment arms. But there was a feeling that we don't do this well. We don't do it well compared to some of our competitors who, where what we have is state governments doing their thing, the Commonwealth doing their thing. We don't do, I want to use Team Australia because that's been used by somebody in the federal government in recent times. We don't do brand Australia that well. We tend to let the resource companies market themselves, as they should. What we don't do, or what we heard we could do better, is that brand Australia, having a more joined up, more cooperative approach to attracting investment in some of these countries. And some countries it is important for the government to be in there and to be seen to be in there and supporting the industry. They like the government to be a bit of a be in behind the industry. So we're taking that on board. We're working with our investment people in Austrade, and we want to work with state territory governments to try and get a more joined up approach. Improving business settings. This is a bit of a perennial about constantly making sure our regulations are effective, efficient, and appropriate. It's not about stripping away regulations to giving the industry freedom to do what it likes, but it is about making sure that the regulatory frameworks you've got actually have a point and are actually efficient and are actually achieving what they're supposed to do. Otherwise, and Australia has been slipping back in some of the rankings on some of this, on some of these issues. Now, you can have a debate around whether or not some of the regulations that come in are appropriate and should have been pursued or not. The fact is, we are becoming more and more regulated, and that does create churn and uncertainties and challenges. Next one. Sorry, I should have said. After each of these, we'll talk about some of the things we're doing. This last one here will be quite critical for the industry and everybody. I think in the next 12 to 18 months, there is a legislative review of the Environment Protection Biodiversity Conservation Act, which the Environment Department is now just kicking off. That will be a very significant review. It's not just a tweaking of the Act. They are looking at the whole rationale for the Act, the whole rationale for involvement. It will be a very contested space. I think the The Environment Department has yet to get the terms of reference for the review, but I know their thinking is almost going back towards, do we have the right sort of act? Is it 20 years old now? It's hard to believe, but it is 20 years old. Is it working the way it was intended? Is it still appropriate? I think there will be a bit of a push to move to a more objective-based type act than what we currently have, which is quite restrictive. But that will be a hotly contested spot, both from a business environment, but also a political point of view. So that's one where I encourage people to and put their views in. Opening up new industries and resource regions. Our flavour of the month is obviously critical minerals, rare earths, but this is actually something that's a bit dear to my heart around some of the new basins, shale gas, tight gas, some of the mineral provinces in WA and Northern Territory. I don't think Commonwealth and state governments do a very good job with this. They do tend to leave it to the industry to take the running. That is a good and a bad thing. I think we've seen what happens in the coal seam gas, unconventional gas space when governments tend to vacate the field. It becomes a highly contentious, difficult area that just gets made worse. I think there's a real need for governments to come in and say, look at a basin in the province, both Commonwealth and state level, they do a better job at strategically planning it out, providing information to the communities, businesses around what their expectations around development in that area should be, around the types of development, things that could be considered, the things that won't be considered. That's what's needed to get some of these new basins developed. It is really challenging in today's world to develop a new minerals province. Infrastructure costs, the social licence. We are struggling in Australia to attract that. What we're very good at the moment is attracting investment, what we call brownfields investment, which is building on existing projects, expanding. You've got the infrastructure there, you know the resource, the community's okay, it's easy to expand it. Where we're really struggling, to be honest, is in the greenfield area, in new developments. And that's cost, social licence, a whole range of factors. So if we move to the next.
It's decided to work.
It's now working.
Evergreen.
What we're thinking about in this space is broadening out the Geoscience Australia Exploring for the Future program. Of course, we need money for that, and that's a bit of a challenge. The Minister's committed to trying to expand exploring for the future. At the moment, it covers Northern Australia to basically map the geology of the whole of Australia. We heard a bit from the industry around the AGS statistics on mineral exploration, what they would regard as accurate or reflective of particularly greenfield versus brownfield. As I said, promoting new basins and provinces. The Beetaloo is one that the Minister's particularly keen on, the shale gas opportunities there, and a number of issues there in the offshore space that we'll look at. What we also want to do is develop through COAG critical minerals sector strategy. And that was something actually the Queensland government put on the table. This was a particularly strong point from a number of the Resource 2030 parliamentary members. Mike Henry from the BHP was particularly keen on this, and I think this is an area where Australia could really create new industries and wealth. So the first one's written in good bureaucratic code. Working in COAG to look at ways to better leverage long-term cross-sectoral research and development. What's that mean? Well, we could only go so far in the way you described that, but it's actually something that came to our attention in part because of the think. So I'm not CSIRO boards that I was on, and Paul Dowd, who was also the chair of that board. It really became obvious to me that there are a number of long-term, funding available for research and development in the sector. There's a lot that's going on. Is it well coordinated? Possibly it could be coordinated better. Has it moved more to the more short-term, more immediate payoff type research programs? The feedback we got is yes, and this is true of most research and development type funding. It is moving more towards 2 to 3 year type work programs rather than 10-year work programs. Some of the cross-sectoral issues are not well picked up. ARC doesn't have a great track record on hold in funding cross-sectoral type work as opposed to the core disciplinary type stuff. So some areas there that perhaps could benefit from some more stable, long-term, predictable funding. The companies in the last few years, obviously, with cutbacks in their profitability, have focused their research more onto research that improves their bottom line, problems they have in mine X or mine Y, which is fair enough, and that's what they should be doing. But this sort of big cross-sectoral work which would benefit the industry as a whole perhaps has suffered a bit. And things in my mind that could be looked at in that space would be things like tailings dams and research on tailings, getting something of a moonshot program together on some tailings, something that I personally think would be of great value. Some work in the rehabilitation space. I think that's an area we can get. We can develop. Rehabilitation is becoming an issue not just in Australia but around the world as mines of 20, 30, 40 years have started to evolve. We can develop world-class expertise in that. We can create a whole new industry that's really put Australia to lead in the job. One that is very important to Chris Viger and the head of Geoscience Australia is data strategy. There's a lot of data that's collected, but none of it, or it's not well connected. It's not readily accessible. And in particular, his view is we can do better on water environment, baseline water, baseline environment data. Start to match that up with geophysical data and some of the social data sets. Create proper information sets, not just for industry, but for the policymakers, but also communities. That's a massive agenda, and reforming data collection is not an easy task. We've seen several goes back that have tried and failed. It will be a slow implemented process, but there are some big gains we can create the right sort of information sets. This one was a bit more challenging, particularly for the COAG resources ministers, because they're not good skills in education ministers. But this became very important, and the issue here became really critical. I went with the minister to Kalgoorlie School of Mines, and they just talked about some of their enrolment stats over the last couple of years, and it's quite frightening. Mining used to be a sort of treasured Australian location. It would appear that that's not the case anymore. Student numbers are going elsewhere. Careers in mining or resources are not seen as sexy, not seen as rewarding, not seen as long-term or stable. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done in that space to course correct. Otherwise, in 5 or so years, there's going to be some real restrictions on the mining industry in terms of the skilled workforces they need. And when you combine that with some of the other debates going on around immigration and skilled migration, you can see the potential for a major crunch point which could seriously limit the industry. It will certainly impact on cost, impact on their ability to get what they need to do. But it is a space that, as a resources space bureaucrat, we're not that familiar with, so we do want to do our work with our colleagues in the skills and employment area And one of the things we want to do is get a roundtable together. One of the things we did here is that the curriculum, particularly at the higher ed university level, are not well coordinated, or could be better coordinated, so that there's better offers to students, there's clearer offers, there's not so much duplication and competition. Now, of course, that's a tricky space to be in. You want competition, but you don't want so competition to become inefficient. And what we heard from some of the academic institutions was that there could be much better structuring of course offers to students. There's in the Resources 2030 report, it also puts a lot of emphasis back on the companies, because one of the reasons people aren't joining the industry or reluctant to join the industry is they don't see long-term careers anymore. The spectre of automation, which is going to happen, right? It's already happened and will increasingly happen, and will have to happen if the industry is going to stay competitive. People don't see the truck driver earning $200,000. That's great. You might do yourself for 3 years and do so. Really important that the companies start to address that too, by providing structured, lifelong learning opportunities within the company, so that employees can see that, yeah, okay, I might be a truck driver for 4 years and then I might go do something else, so I have the opportunity to be trained. If they don't do that, they're just not going to pick up the workforces they need. And I'm not just talking about university graduates, they're also having trouble attracting vocational and even with the wages they pay, they're still having trouble getting those sorts of workers. And this is one that the Minister feels very strongly about. It's of course easy to say, much harder to do, and there is no silver bullet. There's no silver bullets in any of these spaces. And I'll talk a little bit more about that too. This is an area where we know both government and industry have to do more. Government can't stand on the sidelines anymore and say it's up to industry to make sure that the industry is on side. It needs to be, if governments want the resources industry to thrive, then the governments have to be in there as well, supporting it. But it's an area where we don't have the solutions. There is a lot of good thinking, a lot of good practice that I've come across in the last 2 years that's outside government. Some of the companies are doing very good stuff, some of the Peter Ashworth and their work. A lot of innovative thinking around community development. And we want to tap into that. We don't want to come up with some government program that's particularly for Canberra, the communities that much. And this is an area where the state government's very keen to do these things in new ways of working. And there's a lot of trials, there's a lot of stuff going on. It's important that we learn from that rather than just do what we normally do, which is a mid-year program and throws away everything we did in the past and has no go doing something different. So we want to try developing a model, cooperative models with a couple of the state governments, a couple of regions, and see how we go there in this space. Now, we have the resources statement. When you read it, it is, it's got that level of detail in it. There's not a huge amount of detail on how we're going to do this. That was a very conscious decision on our part. As I said, we in Canberra know what we know and we do what we do well, but a lot of this coal-face engagement, if I can use that term, engagement, is not our area of specialty. We also know there's a lot going on out there that we can tap into. So what we wanted to do is work through COAG to say, here's our challenge, this is what we want to do. Now let's get in experts, get in the people that know and talk to them, and then develop up an approach or approaches that might do it. It's a longer and a slower process than most ministers would like. Most ministers, governments like instant solutions. But we took this agenda to the COAG resources ministers, and they all, there's an incredibly positive meeting. They all really brought on to the agenda. They want to get better outcomes in this space. And it isn't just about throwing money at politics. It's about how can we think about doing things better, how can we be more clever about how we go about things. And one of the reasons I'm here tonight is to throw out the invitation. I won't be leading the implementation of this stuff, I'm working on other things. The team behind me, I want them to come out to places like the Sustainable Mining Institute and other areas of expertise to talk to them about what can we do in this space, how can we work better. And there's a lot potentially to be gained, I think, from all of this. One of the things that the ministers want to do is set up a strategic resources advisory group. Now, of course, this was a bit of a sell to this county in regards to setting up the committee with the outcome. It's quite right. But there's something actually Mike Henry from BHP is very, very strong. And the example he uses is in BHP, their board, they will get in very deliberately, I think, once a year. Their board, they will get in some experts on particular topics. And their job is to ginger up the board and give them a presentation on something they've never heard of before. Get the discussion flowing, to get the innovative thinking going, challenging. Now this is essentially what state government and Commonwealth ministers want. Set up a group. I don't know, Tom, if there's any thinking around the numbers on it yet? Sorry?
It's going to Cohen.
Yeah, it's going to go to Cohen. I would imagine it'll be somewhere around about 10 odd people. Again, similar to the Resources Swing Task Force, but on a permanent basis. To basically advise on areas of priority for innovation focus, but in particular to really be the sort of canary in the coal mine, to say these issues are becoming important, these are critical, these are the things you need to focus on. Because left to our own devices, we will focus on obscure regulation paragraph 16.4 of regulatory framework bar, and propose some minor change to that and go on for but they want high-level strategic advice, priority setting. They want a group of people, not company people, not industry body representatives, but real leading edge thinkers to come in and tell them what they need to be thinking about in the next year or two to position Australia over the longer term. And that's some of the agenda that I'll be using. That's all I've got. Crap on about this stuff every day. It's getting late, so.
Yep. Okay. Thanks for that, Bruce. We've got a few minutes for going for questions before drinks. Remember the rules: no questions, no drinks. So, without feeling any pressure, you can ask. What's that?
I've got to get one question out going.
Okay. So if you just raise your hand, I'll pull you out. The gentleman at the back there with his hand up.
Yeah,
Yes.
just shout out. If you took all of the fossil fuel industry out of the shutdown type of speculation, we have to do it like last payment. What sort of economic impact would that be in Australia overall?
Oh, it'll be pretty devastating. But I mean, it's a sort of question. So look, I understand what you're saying, but it's a sort of it's a hypothetical that doesn't really have, isn't really grounded in a reality that I can grasp. And I'm not trying to sort of diss your question, but there is no prospect that any government in Australia is going to shut down the fossil fuel industry. That's the oil, gas, and coal industry. It is worth hundreds of billions of dollars to us. So it's not going to happen. Now, will the industries grow and thrive economically, socially, politically over the next 10, 20 years? That's a matter of public debate, and that's what elections will decide. I see, look, to be honest, the gas export industry is a thriving industry in Australia. We've made massive investments. I can't see that going anywhere but up for a little, certainly for the foreseeable future. The coal export industry will also continue on quite well and grow a little bit more yet. Domestically, coal is backing out. There's no question of that as our coal-fired electricity plants age and basically close for economic as well as policy reasons. That industry will decline. Now, these markets that I showed you before for growth are sustaining. They're real. They're based on countries overseas developing as they've said they're going to develop. And I really can't see any prospect for that. But if in a hypothetical world we eliminated those industries tomorrow, I'm trying to think. Coal's our biggest export. LNG is probably our third biggest export. Oil is a significant export, but we don't produce a lot of oil.
We don't stop much of it.
It would be pretty devastating to take those industries out. Gentlemen back, yeah.
Bruce, thank you very much. Just one thing I'm still wondering what is the statement of the resource statement that 30 years back, 25 years back, we used to talk amongst ourselves that Australia is never thinking about downstream processing or value add in the resource sector. And still I see that if you have the same policy, they pursue this mining and export. If ever Australia is going to be not just mine and export, what about other issues in the downstream industries?
Look, that's
Is it directly missed out, or what's the reason it's not in the vision statement?
That's a really good question. So it was a resources statement that was focused on the resources industry. The Resources 2030 Task Force did have a recommendation that the government needs to work more with state governments in the downstream space. It is a fact that many of our large, intensive downstream industries like aluminium, steel making, they're under economic challenge. And it's not a policy challenge. It's not that any government has decided that Australia should move out of downstream. Quite the reverse. Every government I've worked for and every government I know likes downstream industries. They're just hard. They're hard economically for Australia to compete. And you're looking at steel mills in China, aluminium smelters in China, which are new, and their economies of scale mean they can produce much more cheaply than we can. Our plant in a lot of these sectors is 30, 40 years old. Our energy costs, we've gone from the low-cost energy to probably middle-rank energy cost now. It is very challenging for these industries to survive. It's not to say they can't. The Whyalla Steel Mill, we've got investment in that. It's a small steel mill on a global scale, but they're looking at investing in that. I know Alcoa is doing a lot of work in Portland to keep that smelter going and be economically viable, and it is marginal. But they are challenging, but every government I know and this government is committed to developing downstream where we can. One area that Minister Kennedy has been very keen to explore, and there's a lot of work at the state government levels, is in the critical minerals, rare earth space, whether we can develop downstream industries on the back of a large resource. That produces a lot of healthy debate in the bureaucracy as well. If you've got a big mineral endowment, does it automatically follow that we should also have a big downstream development? And I'm fundamentally an economist, and the answer is no, it doesn't automatically follow. There's a whole range of factors in it, but it should be a big sort of platform for it. But it doesn't mean that you are guaranteed success.
Yeah.
Next question, just somebody else wanted to ask you.